Welcome back to another episode of the A-League Couch Critics. Today we're going to be talking about the proposed start date for the new Hyundai A-League and... it's a slip of the tongue. No longer the Hyundai A-League, just the A-League.
And stop saying Hyundai. We don't own Hyundais. They don't sponsor this show.
So, the proposed start date of the A-League and W League. And so we're going to be chatting about what that season might look like. Before we get into it though, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. We've cracked 90. We're so close to 100 thanks to all our subscribers. Let's get there to 100 before the next season starts. Yeah. It's definitely doable. So Bradley, the season set to kick off on the 27th of December. What do you make of that?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, what do I make of it? Well, we've got a start date. How exciting. That's one thing I make of it.
Finally. It's only been a couple of months.
Yeah, and like everyone's dream to make the transition to winter, it doesn't look like it'll be happening this season at least, and probably, I guess, it's how it is with all these parents of contract stuff. It had to start in 2020 and has to end by July at the latest because of the contract with Foxtel.
Yeah, so obviously some of the constraints, they're looking for a June 30th kind of final, end of June.
Oh, June has to end by, not July. Okay.
So, June.
And by the financial year. Okay, fair enough.
Yep, which there's a couple of reasons for that. One, because the Foxtel deal only has like 6 months of next year.
It'll end at the financial year by the sounds of it. Yep.
And so obviously we can't have two broadcasters for the one season. That would be a little bit jarring for people.
Why not?
Also, just for the league, why would Foxtel bother if they're not going to see the final? You know?
Yeah, but plenty of other sports in the world have different broadcasters. Like BT Sport and Sky Sports do the Premier League. Yeah. And the NFL is like 4 channels.
But at least they're consistent throughout the season. It's not just like, we've
not a new one jumping on board halfway through. Yeah, fair enough.
That'd be pretty stupid. But also, the reason stated is because of the Tokyo Olympics.
It's not happening, mate.
They'll be in July.
It's not happening.
They say July.
It's not happening.
And if it goes ahead, a lot of Australian players, under 23s players from the A-League, will be representing the Socceroos, the Olyroos.
Yeah.
And so, do you think they're good enough reasons to have a shortened, condensed kind of season? 6 months, that's going to give us another huge off-season for the next year, unless we go back to October start and continue in summer.
The Tokyo ones, I think a load of crap. Let's be honest. Like, travel restrictions, you look at what's going on in Europe and... Yeah. Like in Australia, we've got a pretty good, but you look what's going on in Europe. I think they can travel around quite freely, I think. But like, I don't know. If I was
with
Japan,
a massive spread
Japan's
of
an island, just like us, and they can control the virus
in
the same way we can. They don't want to get these many people coming in from all across the world. This is the prime example for coronavirus to spread. If people coming from all 4 corners of the globe to come to Japan.
Isn't that what always happens in that Plague.io game that you play on your phone? Have you ever played Plague?
No, I played Plague Inc. I bought it on Steam. It was on sale during January.
And there's always the event, the Olympics, so you try and get Japan.
No, you start in either China or India, the big populations, and then go forward and spread it.
Yeah.
I think the Olympics excuse, I think, is a bit of crap because I honestly can't see how it's going to happen, the Olympics next year. And it was always going to be like, if it doesn't happen in 2021, that's it. It just can't happen. We just got to scrap it and move forward to 2024. But, I don't know. I think the Tokyo has a lot of crap.
Okay.
Like, if they're saying, are they saying because it'll clash with broadcast and...
No, mainly because it's the players' unions and things like
that. That's pretty good. I think we've always wanted something like that when our players are on international shooting. We want a break. It normally is a break during June, July.
Yep.
That's goodish, but if they actually stick to that in the future, instead of... Because we always used to start the A-League in the first week of October, which was like an international window, and I was just like, what the hell? This is dumb.
Stupid.
But if they're going to stick with this for the Olympics, well, let's hope they stick with that in the future. That'd be a good idea. But... the contract stuff, what's a contract? They sign a contract, and I mean, that's what the contract says. But once we're out of that contract, there might be a bit more flexibility. So we're just going to have to ride that wave and get out of the contract.
It's bordering on, the start of winter, like going into June. So we'll get some colder kind of football temperatures, which will be good.
Yeah, the end of the season should be good, yeah.
Most of the season. And also, I think there's some good things in... the shortened season, just in a bit more Midweek games kind of get a bit of a
Yeah.
flow. There's always football on.
Yep.
What do you make, though? It's rumoured to be a 26-game season.
Yeah.
We've got 12 teams in the A-League next year, so that means everyone plays each other twice, and then a couple of teams play each other three.
Yeah.
What's the go with that? Why?
I really hate this because it's not a balanced draw because, one team's just going to... So a full round home and away season, play once home, one away, for 12-team comp would be 22. So they're playing 4 extra games. And, what happens if some lucky team gets to play the Mariners 3 times? Like, that's when the imbalanced draw comes... Sorry, Mariners. Yeah. That's when the imbalanced draw comes in. Like, what happens if, the Wanderers drew to play the top 4 teams from last year, and then, I don't know, Sydney FC drew the bottom 4?
Yeah.
Like, it's just an imbalanced draw. I think what they're going to go for is they're going to try and get the 3 Sydney derbies and the 3 Melbourne... The two teams from Melbourne and the other team from who knows where they're from.
Which if Fox are pushing it, they're their best kind of viewers...
Yeah, and I get it. But, the derby's always the highlights of the season. Like, it gets the big crowds, it gets the big rivalry and attention. But I just, if we're going for a condensed season, we might as well just play everyone twice and cut those 4 extra rounds to save all those midweek games and just have a full 22-game season.
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? We really do need to get these next 2 teams in.
You mean up to 14?
Yeah, up to 14. Which in the FFA's 11 principles, they talked about the next 2 kind of windows. They didn't really mention when, but hopefully that's sooner rather than later. And they also have identified they want to push towards winter, aligning the game with football right across. I don't know how that will go unless there's... Yeah, I don't know how. Because we're going to have to... If we want to have a winter comp the next year in 2022, we're going to have a 6-month off season, which is just ridiculous. Already Australian off seasons are longer than any other footballing nation. We need to start extending. Either way, we're going to clash with, even if we're doing just summer, if we get a big competition, we're going to start clashing with NRL and AFL. So
James Johnson said he doesn't care about clashing with anyone.
No.
But I think it was always... This was the prime time to switch over to a winter season because we finished in August. Any other time besides COVID, we would have had to have a long off season because our season normally finishes in May.
Yep.
And if they were going to go from May season to... there was always going to have to have one long break. But this was the prime example. Prime chance to switch it to winter. Don't think it's going to happen, mainly because of this contract crap. But it's what it is. Yep. And I think once they're out of it, they're going to have more flexibility. And you know what? We might have to have a really long season break to get the switch to winter. And that's just something we're going to have to bite the bullet to move forward. I don't know, maybe if we're going to end in June, if they do switch to winter the season after and start in, February or something, I don't know, we might have to... Maybe this group stage FFA Cup they're talking about, maybe that's something that might fill the void.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of group stage, but, that might be something we can have for a one-off just to fill that void of no football.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least a top level.
Oh, you don't think we should do like a NRL, summer sevens comp? Imagine a 7-a-side A-League comp
that's only like one weekend in summer or something.
Imagine that in an off season of the A-League and you just had a 5-a-side futsal comp or something. Peak A-League.
I don't know, some players would really.
It would have to be
like an indoor comp, something like that. That'd be pretty cool. But no, not.
It would only be on Channel 7.
No, that wouldn't pass the time. I just maybe we could have like a A-League is back tournament like they did in the Major League Soccer. Jeez, that was
Legends return. Just get all the old school legends. Get Del Piero back. Get Broish back. Have some bangers.
I mean, no, I don't think so.
With that. We might jump into also thinking about the W League. So with the W League, also announced to start same time,
that's what
end of December. Yeah. But as we've just talked about, and thanks so much for your support on that last video, good views, some likes. As we talked about the W League and potential expansion and a bigger competition, unfortunately next season they've kind of confirmed is just going to be another 14-round season with a top 4. It's kind of disappointing, especially because we were leading up to a win.
Yeah, and it's just
it's not good enough, is it?
The problem is the A-League, they're playing too many games in the unbalanced draw, and the W League is playing not enough games in an unbalanced draw. So if you've got 9 teams, you play 16 games, you play 8 home, 8 away. And we play 14 already. It was 12. Like, how hard is it to just play a couple more rounds and play the complete draw? And I don't even like their top 4. It's like, it's straight knockout. Like, where's the reward for the top 2 teams? It's like,
Yeah.
you
it's a bit
found my
average.
sore point.
It's a bit average, especially because we are coming up towards a Women's World
Yeah,
Cup.
and the girls need as much game time as they can. Because, well, we've got most of our Matildas are overseas, but like the up and coming ones that we're going to try and find out here in Australia, they need more game time.
I think part of this is just because the women's game is not fully professional in Australia. A lot of these girls still work a job. And so to have an extended season draws them away from actual income. They're probably not getting paid very well for their W League season in comparison to their normal job or other opportunities that they could have.
I mean, if you've got a full-time job and you've got a W League salary, I mean, that wouldn't be bad. But, I think, the girls want to play full-time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just... Well, I mean, if it's semi-professional, it's hard to add to more games. But, I don't know, we don't really have many professional women's sport. I don't think we have any professional women's sports like competitions in this country. I think the AFL is a bit of a wannabe. They think they want to be full time and the best in the world. But I mean, I could go on to tell you why the AFLW is a load of crap. But we're not talking about that. I mean, well, I'm not going to I have a lot of issues. I'm not going to go into that. But I think the W League is probably the most. I think it's the best women's comp we've got here in Australia. And up there with actually either that or the basketball competition. They're probably the best.
The netball also is very,
of course,
good. But the W League, a couple of seasons ago, was actually attracting some pretty big European and American names of players coming over because it was a shortened kind of off-season for the women's in America. Yeah. So they're actually getting some big names. It's really stepped backwards in the last couple of seasons, I think. It's a little bit disappointing, and I know that COVID and money, so we can sit here and be disappointed for both the A-League and the W League. Really, it comes down to money, and COVID has really impacted that. But it is disappointing to look forward to the next W League and A-League seasons and just have them kind of lackluster.
Yeah, and when you're saying about those imports, I think now that there's so much more money being invested, especially in Europe, that a lot more players are saying, well, I can stay in Europe and play and actually get a good pay. And that's why I've probably lost a lot of Matildas. Even some of the American players are going to Europe. So I think it's been harder and harder to attract those good players because it's great. There's more money in the sport, in the women's game now, but it's harder to get it when, if I'm playing in America during their summer and can come to Australia in the summer, I was like, well, actually, I can go to Europe and make more money. Yeah. And so what's the point of going to Australia anymore? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think all of these kind of issues, a shorter season, a naming rights partner, like we joked about at the start.
KFC A-League.
Even the TV deal, I think a lot of it has to do with the unbundling of the A-League from the FFA. I think that really needs to happen. We need to start allowing the clubs to do what they want to do to start looking for that investment. This transfer system needs to come in. We need to start thinking about that salary cap as soon as possible. Next season, really, that should be it. We should be getting rid of it after that. Unbundle from the FFA and start running this competition like a competition that wants to be a good competition. Same with the W League. If the FFA really wants to see the W League be a top 5 in the world league,
that's
this is not going to cut it. This is not a good step when you've posted this 11 principles to come out with, and by the way, 14 games for the W League.
It's not enough. You got to play a full regular season. And I think you need to be saying to these A-League teams, you need to commit in women's games as well, women's teams as well. So MacArthur, Western United, Mariners, get a freaking team. Yeah. It's it needs
to step forward if FA are really going to put these 11 principles into practice. This is not a good start.
No, it's not. And it's not.
Yep. Well, I think that's probably all we have to chat about today. There might be another video coming out in the next few days, depending on when the Wanderers want to announce a new manager. But not enough to go on for now.
We've re-signed JP. It was all an accident.
Thanks so much for watching. Please do remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you haven't already.
And don't forget my challenge on Twitter. Go out there on Twitter and abuse the FFA social medias by saying, give us a Canberra team. I haven't forgotten about that. I probably haven't posted on Twitter for a week or bit for it because I just don't go on Twitter enough. But get out there and let the FFA know Canberra needs an A-League team.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. Bye.
What would you like the gym mowing? A-League? Oh no, the gym's mowing A-League.
KFC A-League.
I'd get around that.
The A2 Milk A-League.
KFC have plenty of money. What's a cheeky $4 million going to do? Cheeky $4 million from them. That's like a day's work in
they
Bathurst.
need more than $4 million for naming
Think
rights.
about all the KFC chicken money they get from like Bathurst, Dubbo, Lithgow and Orange in one day. That's easily $4 million.
Ooh.
Look at us fat bastards out here eating all that KFC.
Mate, I'm a vegetarian.
Don't tell me.